Hey guys, this is Jack from Team Empire, and today we're talking about new cards from both Set 10, Dragon Masquerade, and one new card from Festival Collection 2023, and there's one card for Keter Sanctuary and 3 cards for Dark States, including the new Masques unit for Drajeweled. So let's get started and talk about the first card, which is the Keter card for Set 10, which is Replenishment Angel. It is a grade 1 double rare that has the following skill: auto rearguard circle. When this unit boosts a rear guard, if you have a grade 3 or greater standing vanguard, cost counterblast 1, look at the top 2 cards of your deck, choose up to 2 cards from among them, put them on the top of your deck in any order, and put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. So overall, this is a pretty interesting double rare. It's basically like gives you top 2 manipulation for free. Not for free, sorry. Unprecedented, like top 2 manipulation. So like you can put both on top, you can put both on bottom, you can put one on top, one on bottom. It's pretty free. It's pretty like open in terms of like the manipulation you get. However, it's a counterblast, and that really hurts for a lot of Keter decks. I guess you could play in like the new Hexorb Sorcerer's Aquamarine, because like that deck doesn't use as much CB anymore, so being able to manipulate even further and increase your trigger count so you can increase your power by 20k even further is pretty nice. Or in Sol Ryron, because you can boost one of your rear guards and then manipulate your deck to get a card you want to call, and then use Sol Ryron's effect to call that card. But that's a lot of CB, and Sol Ryron already has ways to put cards on top of your deck, because you want to manipulate the deck during the main phase and not during the battle phase. Obviously, in the anime, this is used with Youthberg. I don't think it's that great for Youthberg, since Youthberg's already so CB heavy. But there was like a cool like little niche that could be used in this deck with Youthberg. So if you Revel Dress and you only have access to one drive check, like say you Revel Dress into Tempest and then use Sequana to give them one drive, you can use this card, boost one of your rear guards, look at top 2, and if they're both triggers, like say one of them's a heal trigger or an over trigger, you can put them both on top and put the heal trigger or over trigger on top of your deck after you drive check the first card, so that you'll know that you'll have a defensive on top of your deck, so you can play like you have a defensive. So that's really cool. I really like that application of the card, but again, that's just extra stuff. Like that's just a little bit of justification for why you play this card. It's alright, but the CB cost really hurts it. The last thing I should say about the card is that it's also pretty decent in Majesty Lord, because a lot of time in Majesty Lord you want to boost with a column with a blaster in there first, so like Blaster Dark boosted with this, so then you can use her effect, look at top 2, and find like some triggers, try to manipulate it so you can get more triggers on your triple drive. So overall, an okay card. It's alright. I think it'll get better over time, but it's just a lot of Keter decks are very CB heavy. So that's it for the first card. Next up, we're going to go over Drajeweled Masques before we go over his support card. So we have Karmic Demonic Jewel Dragon Drajeweled Masques, who says continuous. This card can only be written from a grade 3 with Drajeweled in its card name. Then act Vanguard Circle once per turn. Cost, remove a card with Drajeweled in its different card name from this unit from your hand, soul, or drop. And then choose 2 cards from your drop, put them into your soul, and this unit gets critical +1 until end of turn. Then has another effect, which is auto Vanguard Circle. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, cost counterblast 1 and soul blast 4 cards with different grades. Choose 2 of your opponent's rear guards, retire them, choose one of your opponent's vanguards, and until end of turn, increase or decrease its power to 1. So in terms of Mask unit, I think this is okay. It has its niche uses, like attaching a CB cost to the Soul Blast 4 is really the worst part about this card, and everything else is pretty good. Like retiring 2 is a great control skill, because retiring rear guards is kind of the same thing as like plussing, because it's like it's like a pseudo plus, because you minus your opponent. So like retiring 2 is the same thing as minusing 1 your opponent. So that's pretty cool. It does kind of suck that it's attached to that skill, but as we'll see with the next card, Drajeweled did get access to a countercharger. And the first effect is genuinely like really good. Removing a Drajeweled to fix your soul, because sometimes in the late game, Drajeweled doesn't have ways to fix its soul. So being able to use this skill to immediately fix it and then get its crit is very good. On top of that, there's already some cards in Drajeweled that control the board pretty well, like Ristal Galer. So maybe Drajeweled could be like a more interesting control deck. And someone pointed out something to me whenever I was on the subreddit, that the counterblast cost is basically, they attach the counterblast cost to the actual Soul Blast 4 skill, which doesn't actually add any CB cost to Drajeweled, because Drajeweled's first ability already was a CB. So overall, I think it's a decent upgrade. Plus, you get the Persona Ride on turn 3 if you went second, and Persona Riding while minusing your opponent's power to 1 is just pretty insane. So I think this Drajeweled is going to be really good, especially with the promo card in Puza. Like, it's going to be a very strong upgrade. It's just up to other players and how they build their decks to determine whether or not this deck's actually going to make an impact in the competitive scene. Next up, speaking of that, we actually have a countercharger for Drajeweled now, which is a rare grade 2 Cranium Burner, who says auto rearguard circle. When this unit attacks, if you have a Vanguard with Drajeweled in its card name, this unit gets power plus 2k until the end of that battle. At the end of that battle, if you Soul Blasted 4 or more cards at the same time for the cost of your Vanguard's ability this turn, retire this unit and countercharge 1. So this is a countercharger for Drajeweled, which is something the deck's been needing for a while, especially more now than ever since the new Drajeweled has a counterblast cost attached to his Soul Blast 4. It is kind of unfortunate that you can't use this one first. So like, you can't use this one first and then use Drajeweled Masques skill. So that's a little unfortunate. However, I still think it's a very necessary card that needs to be played at like 2 to 3 copies of, maybe even 4, depending on how much your list like counterblast. Because I think Rock RRR is going to be played less, and maybe more power gems will be put in to like help you get more cards in your hand, because from looks like the deck still doesn't really plus that much. Or maybe adding more Ristal Galers in the deck to add more filtering, more draw power. But yeah, no, there's not much to say. It's a very cool card. Plus, if you don't want to activate the Soul Blast 4 yet, I don't know why you wouldn't want to. But he's still a 12k attacker / 20k attacker if you put him with the 8k booster. So overall, I think he's a good card. Obviously necessary in Drajeweled, and I recommend if you're a Drajeweled player, you pick them up. And then finally, we have the card from Festival Collection, which is Causality Dragon, Crucial Dragon. And it looks like I was right in the last video, which makes me pretty happy that the new grade 3 for Lyrical was part of the cycle cards they were talking about for Festival Collection. So this new one has the same effect as the Lyrical one in terms of its first effect. So I assume all of the cards for each nation are going to have this effect. Continues in Rearguard Circle or Guardian Circle. If your opponent's drive check or damage check revealed a trigger unit this turn, this unit gets plus 10k power and plus 10k shield. Then it has its unique effect, which is Auto Vanguard Circle, Auto Rearguard Circle. I don't know why I said Vanguard Circle. Once per turn, when this unit attacks a Vanguard while not boosted, put another rearguard in the same column as this unit into your soul and perform all of the following effects below. Choose one of your opponent's rearguards and retire it, and this unit gets plus 5k power until end of turn. And then remove an over trigger from drop. Your opponent cannot call grade 1 or greater cards from their hand to Guardian Circle until end of battle. So this on paper, this just is like an okay card. Like, it's not bad at all. It's a 23k attacker if your opponent hit a defensive. It's an 18k attacker to 28k attacker with its first part of its effect where you can get 5k power. On top of that, it can retire a rearguard. So for decks that don't have a lot of board control, this can be nice, especially in a deck like maybe Unica, because Unica can actually restand this guy. So you can swing with him first, use his effect, put something into soul, retire something, he'll get additional power for the rest of the turn, and then you can restand him with Baiko Masques, and then swing with him again. And if you have the OT in drop after like checking crits or something, or maybe even OT, or checking crits, you can't check the OT with this, but if you check crits, stack him on this, you can use his additional effect if you have an over trigger and drop to make it so your opponent cannot call grade 1 or greater cards. So, or I'm sorry, no, that's actually not how that works, because you need to activate the effect while not boosted, and it's only once per turn. So never mind, ignore what I said there. But overall, I think it's pretty good. I think the best deck this belongs to is Chronojet, because there's no like Persona Ride lock on it. It doesn't really clash with anything that Chronojet's doing. You know, Chronojet only has one bit of board control, and it's its bottom deck, but giving it a little bit extra retire power is really good. The plus 5k obviously scales super hard with the crest. Plus, it also punishes your opponent for checking defensives by also becoming even stronger when they check a defensive. Plus, adding more shield to Chronojet is just kind of insane. So I think this card is actually pretty good in Chronojet and Baiko Masques, and it's up to players to determine what they want to do with a card like this. And finally, the last bit of information we have from today is that Dragonic Kaiser Vermilion is coming in set 11 as an encounter ride line. Obviously, I think that was pretty obvious based on like how Ezel was coming back in the set, so it's only natural to do like Kai's unit from season 2. And like Vermilion's pretty like iconic. A lot of people don't think he is, but I think he's super iconic. It looks badass in this artwork, and I can't wait to see what he does once we get to set 11 reveals. With that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. Sorry, I was a little like sporadic in this video. A lot of stuff's been happening recently, but I still wanted to get this video out for y'all. Let me know what y'all think about the new cards. Let me know if you think Chronojet's going to be playing that new grade 3. Let me know how you think Drajeweled Masques is going to be. And be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks. Bye, guys.